Fuck yeah. Okay, I actually have a good one today. I just found it on Prime and it's free. If you have Prime, IMDb TV, I don't know if you can find that anywhere else, but it is on there. It's free with ads. I highly recommend this film. It is called A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. It's a film that's loosely based on the director and writer of the film. This guy, he's a punk rock guy named Dito Montiel. I'm gonna look that up right now. But while I'm looking that up, I cannot express to you how fucking cool this film is. It's like not really slick like a Tarantino or a Scorsese maybe, like not really slick like that. It's slick in its own way, but it's like grounded in reality so well that it really it just it drives like like all the points of the film, like all the punches of the film really come through. And I haven't seen this in a while, but I do remember like I was just in awe of this film. This film was recommended to me by my dad while I was in film school, and I watched it. And I just remember, man, like goddamn, this is like nothing I've seen before. But it's not exactly a perfect film either. Let me look this up. A guide to recognize. Yeah, there we go. All right, so first off, it's got an all-star cast. Robert Downey Jr., Shia LaBeouf, Channing Tatum, Rosario Dawson's in it. Just like fucking Ray Liotta. Wait, yeah, I think Ray Liotta's in this one. Fucking maybe not. Anyway, yeah, just like fucking, it's got a really good knockout cast. And then it's made by this guy named Dito Montiel. I forget what fucking band he was in. I've looked it up before, but he basically is like a punk rock guy, and he made a film about growing up in Astoria in the '80s, and it's like like I said, loosely based around his life, but like everything about this film is why I do like why I wanted to do this. Like I've been watching some really shitty films, and the last one I think was pretty fucking good. But this was a film that it hit me in a way when I found it that I was not expecting it to, and I haven't watched it in a while, and I purposely haven't rewatched it because I've been waiting to either watch it with somebody, but in this case I'm just gonna like talk about it. So I'd rather watch something I'm kind of passionate about but haven't seen in a while than something I don't know if I'm not like I gotta beef these up so I'm like a little more coherent. I'm not just like blindingly frustrated with fucking films the entire time I'm on this shit. I want to make some entertainment. Maybe not on that. Yeah, you're not Tony Soprano, Joey. Ah, shit. But yeah. All right, let's dive into this real quick. I mentioned on the Hesher episode, a couple back, something about liking punk rock. So, part of the reason my dad recommended this to me is like, I'm a huge fan of punk rock. I really enjoy this style of music. First off, I play drums by trade. So I really identify with just like a fast, loud, aggressive thing, and then like you like that in a drum beat. Like everybody enjoys like melodic drumming, but if it's like understated, it becomes a little more abstract, and like you're not really listening for that. Like you don't want to listen to just like something that's like wallpaper, like so that somebody can solo over it. I don't know, that kind of like drumming frustrates me, but like with punk rock, it's like very direct, very like fast and aggressive, but I also like that it's accessible, kind of like the like entirety of the thing is like you just kind of do your own thing, and you like I've never had any problems in the scene. I love the people that I grew up with in the scene. Not really much of a scene around here, but like I go to AC and see some regular heads at every winter. I go up to home for the holidays with my boy Mark. Shout out Mark. We'd see the Souls, and like you see the same people. It's kind of like a fun little tradition. It's like, oh, I didn't know you liked this band. Like, fuck yeah, I'll see you in the pit. Shit's fucking great. It's a fun time. But yeah, like that accessibility, it does breed kind of some like good films, and it breeds some really shitty films. Like I think I don't want to throw her under the bus because I do want to do at least one. The one that I want to do, you'll know which one. The Decline of Western Civilization Part 1 by Penelope Spheris. Penelope Spheris, I have a love-hate relationship. She made Suburbia, and I think it's just like way too. And I get it's supposed to be kind of a cliche movie, but it's just like it's way too cliche. She perfected it with Wayne's World. Like her writing, like character writing was better, but it was just like way too cliche. And like there's something about like people that aren't cartoony, like not like cartoony, but like they lack personality in like such a perfect way where like it just looks like you got some people off the street, which from what I understand, they are kind of like relatively unknown actors in that film. I haven't seen that one in a while. I wasn't really a huge fan of it when I saw it, but like, yeah, there was just no like personality with it. Like, or at least there wasn't like personality outside of like kind of that they're aggressive and like kind of punky, but like, it's a little on the nose and a little contrived for me, but you know, what do I know? I'm just a fucking line cook. But, yeah, anyway. But she like nailed it with Wayne's World. Like Wayne's World did a great job. Like these two like aged metalheads, like and like they're perfectly cartoony. And it's like I get Suburbia is a different tone. It's not a comedy, but like that character though, the characters felt more genuine. In like Suburbia they did not. But yeah, like the kind of like the rock music, I guess in like Suburbia's case, the punk rock music is kind of like this nice backdrop. And it cultivates like at least an aesthetic that is interesting. It's not the like I guess like RoboCop 3 kind of does too, the splatterpunks, but that's like it's supposed to be an ugly aesthetic. And but like one of my favorite films is Repo Man, that kind of takes place in this like 1980s dystopian LA, which is present LA, now and probably fucking then. But yeah, like that's got this like punk rock backdrop that I really like. Like the Circle Jerks are a fucking like lounge act, and there's just like a scene where there's a bunch of people moshing behind like fucking abandoned building by the train tracks, like with no band playing. They're just listening to music and beating each other up. Like, I mean, I've never run with people quite like that, but it's fucking awesome. Yeah, and SLC Punk's a staple. What the fuck else? Yeah, there's like some other ones smattered around there. I could fucking think of, come up with a list or something like that. Maybe come back with it on the other side of this. But yeah, this is like kind of a punk rock film too, because, but it's like not like necessarily about like the music. Like it's just kind of like his what he feels is like a good representation of his like upbringing and like his backstory. The director Dito, that is, and it's very accessible, and it's people that you would probably have run into, but like you get to kind of see like why people are drawn to this thing that is like punk music. Like this, it doesn't really go there. It's implied, and from what I remember, I might be blending Son of No One, his other film, and this one together, but I mean he does fucking whatever. It's like regardless of if I am like either way, it does have like these like little smatterings of like, oh yeah, like a nod to the scene. I think like I forget what they're doing. They probably mentioned C Squad or some shit, but I fucking forget. I'm gonna quit rambling about this movie. I got like 2 minutes left. Yeah, let me talk about more movies I like. But yeah, what am I fucking doing? Get the fuck out of here! I'm like high. I got way too fucking high. I'm like real dehydrated from work, and I'm real sore because I've been on my feet for like 11 hours today. But I fucking I just got way too baked right before I did this, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't thought about that movie in a while, and then found it. Oh, and I crashed out of a poker tournament in really big style, $50 fucking down the drain. Yeah, fucking got a problem. I don't think it's a problem. I was donkey. I'm fucking high and like exhausted. I'm kind of pissed off. I want to watch this film. And I don't know, like I felt like I should play something, but I didn't do it. I don't really play video games either. I'm not a fan of video games. I play, like when I have to force myself to relax on my days off, I'll either force myself to like, actually relax and like sit down and play a video game, or like most of the time I'm just playing poker though, because I just prefer poker. It just gets it makes me think in a way where like video games is kind of like just turning my brain to mush. Like this, I have to like critically analyze shit too. So it's like, I don't know, keeping my brain active is good, but I have to turn it off sometimes because otherwise I'm gonna burn myself out. But yeah, like I'm not a huge fan of. I forget how I fucking got onto this. How did I even get onto the subject of video games? I don't know. I just ate too. I think I'm like losing oxygen to my fucking blood or something because I'm like honestly sounding like a fucking moron right now. All right, I made it far enough. Without further ado, we're gonna watch Son of No One. No, we're not. Fuck. Yeah. Dude, oh my god. I don't know. I think I just got, like, it just hit me, like, in a wave or something like that where I just went retarded watching fucking a guide to recognizing your saints. Take us out, Rocky. Right the fuck on. That fucking movie still rules. God damn, that fucking movie is so good. Give it a little bit of the old. Yeah, let that fucking sit. Nah, that's a good movie. Fucking A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. What a fucking phenomenal film. Where to begin? I don't even know. It's like I didn't do any research on this one. I just really enjoyed this film. I know that it's about the guy. It's like loosely based on Dito Montiel's life. I don't know what's embellished, what's not, but like it's so fucking captivating that it doesn't even really matter where or what isn't real, what's dramatized. It's good. It's like I always feel like I'm repeating myself with this, but I try not to like give you like a straight up synopsis of the film. Like I don't want to just recount the film for you, but it's a film that very strongly relies on like if you've ever encountered New Yorkers. My friend Mark pointed out a couple of years ago, I made him watch that movie Good Time. And I was really excited when that film came out because I couldn't find it in theaters, but I found it on demand while I was living with my cousin in North Carolina. And I like Robert Pattinson. He's a pretty good fucking actor. But my friend Mark told me that he thought, like, because I like Good Time so much, he's like, Joe, that is probably the most New York film I've ever seen. And he was right up until I rewatched this just now, and I'm like, you know what? I think this usurps it by like a pretty big margin. This is the most New York film I've ever fucking seen. If you know anything about New York in like between like I want to say like 1968 and like 1995, maybe later than that, like 2000 maybe. I'll give it 2000, so like 40 fucking years. 30 years. Yeah, 30 years. Like there's New York was probably what like some would call a hellhole, others would call it like misunderstood, but it really was just this like fucking weird amalgamation of like things that were all very dangerous and hostile and volatile, and there's like a lot of weirdness. I lived on Long Island for a little while, and it was chill. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like dangerous, and like you could go to the city with like relative and no problems or anything. But like you hear stories from like old heads that live out there when they're like, oh yeah, when the city was bad, and I guess it's getting bad again now. Because of COVID and all the shit going on with like people getting released from prison and a whole bunch of gun crimes and shit. It's fucking wild up there. But yeah, like apparently like the 70s to the 80s, it was like especially bad. And that's when this film takes place. It's supposed to be 1986. And it's like right in this pocket of time. And there's like a couple of little shout outs, or not like shout outs or like Easter eggs even, but they're like these moments where if you're familiar at all with like the way it was back then. I wasn't born yet, but I studied, like I've been to New York, and I kind of like have studied things where it's like a lot of people like have encapsulated that era in time pretty well, and it's like pretty well documented. They knocked it out of the park. Like everything from like the trains to like there's like even like guardian angels on the fucking train, which is fucking hilarious. They're like these dudes that used to like ride on the train to basically act as security to make sure that like gang members and fucking thugs didn't beat up old ladies and shit. And yeah, like it was a thing. That was literally a thing back then. They needed it. It was so bad. Like people had to volunteer to like do police work on their own like volition. But yeah, the story has it where it's not like there's no, the reason that I said that I don't mind the embellishment in this is because it's not like they could have probably relied on the police, because the police are a thing like at certain points of this movie, is like very very limitedly, but like they are an element in this movie, not like like I said, crazy, but like you notice like, you know, little subtle things where they're around, even though there's like all this chaotic shit going on. Like there's the one of the first things that happens is these kids throw a fucking I think it's like a dresser or a couch or something off a roof, and it like just lands in the middle of a sidewalk. And yeah, like it's like someone's gonna call the cops on you, or like the guy says, the guy in the subway terminal too. He's like, yeah, the cops will be here in 5 minutes. Even though you never see them, they're just, it's like implied that, you know, like, all right, it's a threat, but it's a shallow threat. It's like this looming thing. So like there's this like notion of like self-reliance, or I guess like a theme or motif of like self-reliance, where it's like you kind of got to like band together. Dito's mother at one point refers to her kid and like his friends as like a pack of wolves, and I've heard that like you know, the Rancid fucking album, and I'll call them the Wolves. Like I've heard that like in like kind of like, you know, punk rock culture and shit, but like hearing it like that, it's like, okay, that makes more sense, where it's like, yeah, they have to go out like just to kind of exist. There's like in this chaotic, you know, situation that he's in, he's got to band together with, even though like even these people that like seem to not like him, and there's like a lot of infighting amongst him and his friends, and it's very like tense and aggressive, but you know, that ultimately like even there's a moment where Channing Tatum's character Antonio, he's mad at Dito, the Shia LaBeouf aged Dito, and then he walks away from him, says he's pissed off, and then Dito immediately gets beat up with a baseball bat, and he runs back over, and he's like, fuck, we're gonna go fuck this guy up. And like the violence is brutal, but like very grounded. It's not dramatic. They're not fight sequences. They're not anything. It's literally watching somebody get murdered with a baseball bat or a pistol, or like a guy, like a drunk guy throwing knives at chicks. Like it's very like visceral, very real. It's not like, you know, some dramatized or like I would say dramatized is a little like fetishized almost, like where it's like knife play and like gunplay and shit like that. Like it's never like that. It's just this very brutally honest, real, scary kind of looming feeling, where it's like the cops are like always like this looming element, but like it seems like the violence that could ultimately end you before like you even have the chance for police intervention, it's like right there on your door, literally on your doorstep. And it just, that it sets the tone so well. The atmosphere of this movie is unfucking real. It's so incredible. It's like, if you've ever been to New York, you'll kind of like, it's spot on. Like I lived there, and I was just like blown away at like how immersive this feels. You feel like you're just a fly on the wall in this crazy neighborhood in Brooklyn, I think. Queens, yeah. But yeah, like just everything about this film is so fucking good. And I gotta, like I said, I don't really believe that acting is that difficult, but playing like this is fucking a different style of things, where it, like you have this like weird melange of characters that are all from like different ethnic backgrounds, but ultimately they all are like New Yorkers. And if you've ever like been around, like I forget who fucking does the joke, but it's like the joke is something to the effect of like, you know, you're from New York when you watch an Asian guy yell at a black guy in Spanish. That's pretty much like it. Like it's just such a weird melting pot and like mix of people that there's just like these like racial themes, but they're not really like racial themes. It's just like you have like everybody kind of living in the same area and they all get along, and it's like, yeah, but your people did this and your people did this, and it's just kind of like, it's one of those things where if you maybe if more people lived an immersive experience like that, or like, you know, maybe like observe this movie and then we're like, okay, like I kind of see now like why things are like, you know, moving in the way they are. It's not shoehorned in there. It's actually very like natural. Like it does feel like a thing where just like, okay, like we all kind of exist. We all are like living in this fucked up situation, and every chance of like, you know, peace that we get, it's like everybody just kind of chills and wants to do their own thing. But like, you know, it's like I can't sing enough praises for it. It feels so fucking real and great, and I enjoy the moments of levity. I enjoy the moments of drama. It's very scary. It's very sad too, because it's like another theme in this is like a relationship between like a son and a father that's strained, and then like a son or like a guy who doesn't have a father and a guy who feels like a son is absent, and then their bond, which is then broken because the de facto son is defending the real son, and then the real son runs away. it's a very interesting like observation on like dysfunctional families, especially like in this specific situation where it's like you kind of see this shit in New York. You kind of see this in Italian families where are like, you know, at least Italian neighborhoods, like from what I've understood, where like people just kind of like have kids like coming in and out of their houses, and it's like that kid is like closer to some of the parents than like the parents are to their own kin, and it's like it's very strange. But like if you've never experienced that, I could understand how that's like foreign, and like that's not might not like translate, but like I implore you, like this is something like to watch, and it feels very real, and it feels very like I would say like very much from my upbringing. Like my mother had like about 18 adopted kids, and they were always here, and fucking eating food and watching movies and just being loud and driving my parents crazy. But like, yeah, it's just kind of the way it is. There's like a house mom, and everybody kind of like rallies around it. I got a few myself. Like, you know, I'm close with my friends' parents, and I don't even talk to some of them anymore. It's very fucking strange. But that being said, like I just really I liked it. I liked every bit of this movie, and I would like to dwell on one not nitpicky thing. It's not even a negative thing, but I did notice it, and I think that it's one of those creative liberties that I liked, and I really liked it in this because it works. It's kind of a French style of cutting. There was like this thing in like the 90s where obviously the original inventor of montage, which is the style of editing where you have what's called cross-cutting. So anytime you see an edit where it's visibly not like it's an A, B, C camera shoot where it's like, you know, B is the establishing shot, B is the establishing shot, and then there's camera A and camera C, and you cut between those two. The kind of the sitcom thing. Where you have like an establishing shot and then like two like mediums or full shots, you know, just to kind of create like a conversational, you know, environment, like atmosphere. It makes you feel like you're a fly on the wall, but you're still engaged in the conversation. The French kind of like tweaked, excuse me, let me finish this idea. Any editing like that, anything called, you know, anything derived from cross-cutting is from this guy, Sergei Eisenstein. He was a Russian filmmaker, and he was a fucking madman. And when you edit on Steambex or like a flatbed editor, which is a reel-to-reel, like you would edit, like film strips on, which Sergei Eisenstein used. He used to think of the film strips as train cars that you would put on tracks and kind of ram together. And I always found that little tidbit fascinating, as a filmmaker, because like, okay, some drunk Russian guy kind of created this like philosophy that now every fucking person uses. Everyone from high-end production movies that are multi-million dollars down to YouTubers that are just, having fun with it. Like everybody uses this technique too, and I don't even think they really know the origins of it. Just like they don't know that Richard Dawkins invented the expression memeing. But yeah, anyway, or memeographing. Anyway, like it's whatever. That being said, the further down the road, the French kind of redesigned it. They tweaked it a little bit, and it's called to montage, in the French sense, where you would kind of like it was like cutting, but it was cutting for like more artistic purposes. It wasn't for like pragmatic storytelling purposes or like visual purposes. It was just for like to create like something like the way that framing works, like as framing, as a device. Like you can frame a shot a certain way, but then like dutching the angle, meaning like turning the camera on a weird like pan or tilt so that the horizon lines are a little bit off. That's, a way to create kind of an obscurity to make the scene more interesting, I guess. Like there's, all these techniques you can use. So the French decided that like if you compile shots real rapidly, like in the middle of a conversation, so it's like you kind of skip the intermediary. It's just very like ba 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 ba. That editing style is French montage. There's a couple of them, but that one is used, but it's used in a really weird way in this film, and I liked it. It seems like they would do like multiple takes of the same scene, like run it through like 4 or 5 times, but like the establishing shot they would use where like there would be like, Dito on his porch and he runs out to see the boys, and they like, they would do it and he'd be like, hey, yo, what's up? And then like they do it again, and then they do it again. And it kind of is like, it evokes like a kind of like a memory feel, like the way that like, in the same way that like, The Godfather is like tinted kind of like slightly yellow to make it look like an old photograph. Like this kind of seems like, like when you hear like a trigger word or like something, it's like, oh yeah, that like, I remember when so-and-so said that to me back in the day, and like kind of like, it teases out a memory. It kind of seems like that is what the the artistic device is here that Dito is going for with it. And I really liked it. It makes it very, the flashback parts of it, which is like, it's largely exposition, but like still it's like a flashback, and it's done as its like own story as like the A plot, and then the B plot is like him, Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Dito, presently kind of going back through Astoria and bitching about how it's like, changed, and then like he doesn't really want to confront, his father because of the turmoil he left on. It's, just that seems very grounded, whereas like the other stuff comes off as like not dreamlike, but it comes off with this like, it's a sense of boredom, but it's a sense of like reminiscing, where like you got to give it like kind of like the favor of it being optimistic, or like not optimism, like, but like, yeah, it's just dreamlike, and I kind of enjoy that. I think that it's done very well, and it's a technique that I wish more people would use, because when you get something that's over edited, or you get something that's like under edited, it does kind of seem incomplete. Like, people rely way too long now on the long takes, and I don't like that. There's been, I just watched that Dragged Across Concrete movie, and like if it was edited and it was like a little bit tighter, like around the edges, like it would be a significantly better movie. A longer runtime does not mean that you're being more artistic. It means that you're having more real estate to like you have more time to fill, so you better keep it fucking interesting. Much to the benefit of Martin Scorsese, actually, because a lot of his films are over 2 hours, but they're cut so like rapidly, and then it takes its time where it needs to, but then like all the exposition and the transitional shit is just kind of like boom, 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 where you don't feel rushed, but you feel like you're enjoying the good shit, you're enjoying the real grounded shit, because it slows down for a second, but then everything else, it's like fifth gear, fucking flying, and you get everything you need, and it wraps up very nicely. Whereas this, it's like it takes its time exactly where it needs to, and then like its use of certain editing devices is just like, it's very, very not even slick. What's a good word I'm looking for here? It's creative. Creative is a good word. Fucking Joe with the vocabulary coming in right now. There we go. All right, so got like 3 minutes left. My final thoughts on this film, though, man. I forgot how much I like this film. Was phenomenal. 10 out of 10. It's got 4.5 stars on I guess Prime, but like, dude, it's a well deserves your, not only your attention, but like if you can get this shit in HD, get it on like Blu-ray if you can, because it's very beautifully shot. It does an excellent job setting the atmosphere with like all the set design, all the use of locations, which it looks like they use real locations. I know that it was shot obviously in Astoria, like, they make everything sets and shit, but like it's there. It's right where it needs to be, and it looks fucking awesome. Just if you have any interest in like let's go back to that. There wasn't as much emphasis on the punk rock aspect too as I thought. They mentioned like Black Flag and the Cro-Mags and shit, like, but that's like the Mike character just kind of like spouting off who he likes, and like they have this like looming idea that they want to start a band, so they're working for this gay guy who's like walking dogs that ends up like trying to stiff him for money because he's smoking too much crack and shit. But yeah, that whole theme, it's like, I like that it's not like, well, like, we need to chase our dreams, man, and then like we got to do anything to take, man. It's like, no, it's just this like, they hate their situation so much that they need this like thing to kind of cling to, but then that thing that they cling to is kind of like also this fucked up thing where it's not really resolving the issues, it's just kind of creating more problems. And I think that is a very, like, I mean, obviously he lived something similar to this. Like, it's a very well thought out and very practical use of that time, where like he could have done anything. He could have been like a fucking grocery stocker or something and gotten robbed, or like, he could have taken that creative direction wherever he wanted to, but instead he used this like very like smart, very New York too, way of like, earning a little side money. And that's, I really like that. And I think that plot is like, it looked a little under flashed out because it does kind of go like boom, boom, boom. But like a lot of other things in this movie kind of go boom, boom, boom. It's the nature of the film. It is very aggressive. It's a very punk rock movie. And that's what I like about it. but I forgot how much I liked it, and I really wish that more people have like even know about it. It's got people that everybody seemed to like. It's got Channing Tatum. It's got Shia LaBeouf. I forget the fucking dad's name, but Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. Yeah, like Rosario Dawson's in it. Like, there's a lot of people in this movie that like are top billed cast now, and I don't understand why nobody fucking watched it. But yeah, it's on Prime. And it's free on IMDb Movies or IMDb TV. So if you feel like giving it a look, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. I'll probably do the sequel, Son of No One, which also has Channing Tatum in it. It has a really good performance by Tracy Morgan in that film too, where Tracy Morgan does a monologue, and it's very powerful. But I think that one's a little weaker compared to this one, because this one is very like brutal and very good. But the authenticity of both is there, and both of them shine. So check it out. A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.